Well, we are continuing our study of Proverbs 16. In the last episode, we ended up on verse 9. So we will continue in verse 10 of chapter 16.
Divine inspiration is on the lips of the king, so his mouth must be faithful when he judges. Yes?
Amen. And what does it mean, divine inspiration? Many people talk about the scriptures being divinely inspired. Inspiration. You speak with an authority. If you're a king, you are a ruler who is established by the authority of God. You represent him. You bear his name. You come in the name of the King of Kings. So yes, you must be faithful when you judge. You must do everything in righteousness because, once again, you represent the Lord, and he is zealous for his righteous name.
Yes, he is. As you would be when you own a company, you are zealous for your name. Your family name, we call it branding, don't we? Right? In the streaming, YouTube influencing world, your brand, Nick, Adidas, Nike, your brand, zealous about your brand. So it's important that if you're willing to protect your name and sue somebody for libel against your name, what do you think Adonai Yatevahe is willing to do for his name? Think about that for a moment. But most of you run his name in the ground, mock his name, make fun of his name, mutate his name as Yeshua, not Zeus. It's Passover, not Easter. And it's amazing, those of you who follow get more angry at this comment I'm making than those who do not follow. Seems like those with no skin in the game care more about the game than those who with skin in the game. Try saying that to a churchman or religious person. Try telling somebody who loves the Lord, who says that they were born again and saved, why Christmas is a pagan holiday. Watch them attack you. Try telling somebody who loves Jesus and loves light why they should not be dressing their children up in costumes of darkness and demonology, while they're the ones that scream at you. I can talk to somebody who doesn't go to church and doesn't know the Lord, and they receive my comments about Easter or Christmas or Halloween. Now, the people that fight the most are the ones who say they love God. But that would make sense, by the way, because that's where the devil really is. The devil was not born in ugliness and darkness. He was born in light. If you ever want to know where the devil really is, he's in a place where you think is the most light. His name is Lucifer, sun, light of the morning. Luz in Spanish, light. Luminaire, illuminat, light. So you see somebody with a robe and a cross and going to church and you think you're safe? You are the most unsafe there. That is the devil's seat of power and glory. That is what he is. So when you think about the trinity of darkness, like the trinity of Elohim, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Lucifer, devil, and Satan, he manifests, the angel of light manifests in Satan, rebellion, and devil, diabolical, devious, deviant. And the underlings of the demons, the demagogues of that darkness, the demons. You're not always, no one's battling Lucifer. You're battling either the spirit of Satan or the devil. Adversary. That'll bake your noodle. Chew on that for another year or two. Divine inspiration is on the lips of the king, so his mouth must be faithful when he judges. The balance and scales of justice have their origin in Adonai, not their origin and the reformers or the church fathers or the rabbis of the Babylonian exile. The origin story is Adonai. All the weights in the bag are his doing. He's the one who's behind it all. That's the conspiracy. It is an abomination for a king to do evil, for the throne is made secure by righteousness. It is the Lord that gives us power to get wealth. It is the Lord that sets one authority up over another. Do we accept the good and not the bad? The Lord made them both. It's an abomination for the king to do evil, for the throne is made secure by righteousness. The king should delight in righteous lips. You should be glad that there's somebody speaking righteous, that you are delighting in speaking righteous. And he should love someone who speaks what is right. Why would you hate somebody who's telling you the truth? Yet you do. No good deed goes unpunished. The king's anger is a herald of death. Wages of sin is death. It's a terrible thing to fall in the hands of a living God. You should fear the king as you should fear God. And one who is wise will appease it. If you're wise, you try not to stir an angry bear. When the king's face brightens, look, he's happy. It's good for us. His favor is like the clouds that bring spring rain. You know, you wake up and daddy's happy. You know, I grew up in a rather abusive home. When my father was laughing and smiling, it meant we weren't going to get beat that day. He's pissed about work, upset about life, stressed about something. He's going to take it out on us. Pride goes before destruction. Oh, I'm sorry. How much better than gold is it to gain wisdom? Well, you tell me, because most of you spend whatever you spend to do whatever you can. You look at your vocation and your jobs, and you don't look at what you're called to do. You look at which can produce the most money for you.
And when you do go for wisdom, you get wisdom in order to get more gold. So wisdom for you is a means to get gold, instead of gold being the means to get wisdom.
Yes, rather than money, choose to gain understanding. Let me read that again. Rather than money, choose to gain understanding. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? The soul is the understanding and the wisdom and the spirit. Avoiding evil is the highway of the upright, meaning that's the path they take. He who watches his steps preserves his life. Pride goes before destruction and arrogance before failure. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And all the king's horses, all the kings couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Better to be humble among the poor than to share the spoil with the proud. It's something when you're eating a piece of bread, something real simple, a plate of grits, something polenta, rice, just some bread and butter with somebody you love. Oh, wow. Wow. Be humble. He who has skill in a matter will succeed. Be skillful. He who trusts in Adonai will be happy. Be happy. A wise-hearted person is said to have discernment. Sweetness of speech adds to learning. Common sense is a fountain of life to one who has it. What's your degree? What school did you go to? How many degrees do you have? Sir, went to no school, have no degrees, but I'm full of common sense. Good, you're hired. That's how it should go.
But then again, the one hiring you has no common sense. So there you go.
Law of attraction. Whereas fools are punished by their own folly. You attract what you are. You chose the wrong person and you didn't seek advice in choosing the person. You went on your own. The wise man's heart teaches his mouth. Let your heart direct your mouth. A wise man's heart, because you're not supposed to trust in your heart. Remember that? And to his lips, it adds learning.
Well, it comes back to the beginning of Proverbs. Wise man. What is a wise man? The beginning of wisdom is fear of the Lord. So your heart is a heart after God's own heart that fears the Lord. So with a heart like that, let your heart lead your mouth. Otherwise, not so much.
Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweet to the taste and healing for the body. There can be a way which seems right to a person, but it ends on the ways of death. But it seemed right to me. Well, it's hard to have a conversation when you're rushed, isn't it? Even a good man can make a mistake because he's being rushed. And occasionally, we try to avoid that as much as possible. Once in a while, we get trapped in a conversation, and now we're being rushed. And when you're rushed, you miss a lot of things that you don't intend to miss, or you could easily correct them, but the person is rushing you and not giving you time. Don't rush me. Don't rush me. People rush in the conversation. Don't rush. You can tell when they're not listening. A working man's appetite acts on his behalf because his hunger presses him on. Well, when you're hungry for the Lord, when you're hungry and thirst after righteousness, you don't have to tell somebody to chase God, seek God. You're hungry for him already.
Well, and think about it, that really is the test, isn't it? Anybody, Papa can do anything. He can convert everyone, he can do whatever he wants. But really, what he is looking for is who's hungry for him, who's seeking him, who wants him. If you are, you'll find him. It's not like Papa is hiding somewhere. You're just not truly faithfully seeking. You just have a ritual, a religion, a whatever. You're not looking. See, I grew up secular, a secular home. I've always, believed in the existence of God, but I wasn't really looking, I wasn't really seeking, and it only later in my early 20s that I started getting more interested to know. I was like, wow, I want to understand what is this, what is faith, who is God. And I was seeking, and by seeking you learn and you find out, and one person leads you to another, and then one place leads to another, and one teaching leads to another, and one revelation leads to another. And as long as you're continually seeking, you will find.
Salesmen always say you need hungry salesmen. Those are the ones that get on the phone. They're hungry. Somebody isn't hungry, but take his time. He doesn't care. He doesn't need it. He's not hungry. Sometimes he's just doing it to prove something, but he's not hungry. Desperate people. Necessity is the mother of invention. When you feel a need for God, when you're hungry for God, when you're thirsting after God, when you're crying out to God. You pray like you never pray. You give like you never give. You serve like you never serve. You endure like you never endure. You wait like you never wait. See, when you're really desperate for God, you don't become impatient. You become more patient because you're waiting on the Lord. I'll not let you go till you bless me. He didn't go, hurry up, bless me. I'll not let you go till you bless me. I'm not going to get off this altar and praying and crying and fasting until you answer my prayer. It's not anxiety. You become more patient. You refuse to move. You knock on that door and you're not going to stop until you get an answer. Important to understand that. Have an appetite for God. Delight thyself in the Lord. Appetite. Not Turkish delights. The Holy Spirit. A worthless person digs up evil and gossip. It is like scorching fire on his lips. A deceitful person stirs up strife, and a slanderer can separate even the best of friends. People come and they'll separate, they'll gossip about somebody you know and love, they'll start saying stuff behind the back. They'll do, and next thing you know, you haven't even talked to them and you're already forming negative opinions. Be wise. Say, I don't accept gossip. I don't accept slander. And many of you have ended relationships because of things you've heard. You are become a wellspring. You're open to any gossip. A valiant man lures his neighbor astray and leads him into evil ways. One who winks knowingly is planning deceit. One who pinches his lips together has already done wrong. White hair is a crown of honor. Well, it used to be. There's nothing worse than a man with white hair and nothing to show for it other than the color. How many of you know old fools? He who controls his temper better than a war hero. You want your war hero strong and raw, roaring and wild. But what's better than a man like that? A man who's calming his temper. He who rules his spirit better than he who captures a city. For the tongue no man can tame. Imagine when you can keep control over yourself. And it starts first in your heart and in your mind. Be careful where your heart and your mind, be careful where your emotions are going to take you. Be careful, where you tend to think the worst. We tend to go straight to the negative, the worst scenario.
Well, and that really is the definition of a hero. I said a war hero, but who is a hero? You conquer yourself, you conquer your urges, you conquer your mind. That is your greatest enemy, your greatest adversary is you. The way you think, like Steven said, it's like, well, this is a true hero. If you're in control, you break that chain, surely the Lord gives you the strength, but there's still a part that you have to play. You have to be the one to will and to do, and that makes you a hero. Stronger than any great war hero or warrior or whatever.
And being honest about yourself is good. None of us are perfect. Be honest about your weakness. Be honest. Don't brush over it. And it's not so much other people dealing with it. Just as long as you know that you're addressing it every day and throughout the day, that's good enough. Are you, though? Are you being honest? And if somebody brings it up occasionally to remind you, do you say thank you? I'll take all the reminding I can of that. It helps to keep me in line. And that's what sheepdogs do. They keep the sheep in line. It helps. The herding helps to keep them close. It's very important to self-correct, self-navigate, self-mitigate. Don't be obtuse about things in life that are there to help us. It may hurt to hear it. It may hurt to do it. But is it a hurt to help you? Yes. That pain, that twist, putting that shoulder back, fixing that bone, well, yes. Pain for a moment, it'll go away. One can cast lots into one's lap, but the decision comes from Adonai. So you might think something is random, you're throwing it. It's not, nothing is random, even if you're casting lots. Nothing is random. Nothing in the cosmos, in the universe, is happening outside of God's control.
In other words, no such thing as luck. You're tossing the dice, the Lord decides if you're gonna win the jackpot. The lottery is rigged? Yes, it is the Lord behind the lottery. He decides who gets the money. Everything is rigged, and God is behind it all.
And see, everybody's willing to accept the fact that a government can rig something. A political party can rig something. The mob can rig something. A corporation can rig something. A tech guy, a coder with AI or nanotechnology or mathematicians and statisticians, all of these people and software development, you all accept the fact that it's rigged by a man. And if a man can rig things, who who do you think is above man rigging it all? Better a dry piece of bread with calm than a house full of food, but also full of strife. An intelligent slave will rule a shameful son and share the inheritance with the brothers. The crucible tests silver, furnace tests gold, but the one who tests the heart is Adonai.
And think about it, what is the commonality here? How do you test silver in the crucible? Fire. How do you test gold in the furnace? Fire. Well, what do you think the Lord is going to do? Spiritual fire. Fire, it purifies, it burns the impurities, but it also is very, very hot and it's very uncomfortable, which is why we often say the righteous suffer more in order to test us and purify us. The Lord is like, there's a few more impurities, back in the fire. Oh no, no, Lord, help me, help me. Okay, I'm gonna give you some break, I'm gonna give you some rest. Now back in the fire.
Then back into the fire. Yeah, you're preacher. Listen, when is it going to stop? Never until the last fire. You're going through multiple stages of firing, firing, again, firing. Cool down, wait for a while, fire. And each time the integrity of your spiritual metal gets stronger. Once again, and Papa put me through the fire. All when is it going to stop? It's not. But don't worry, I'll be with you in the fire.
Well, one day it will stop when you get there, but that's a long way off. You die, you get some rest. Papa's like, you've done your part for now. Now rest. And then the resurrection, you're gonna get 1,000 years of this.
1,000 years of firing. An evildoer heeds wicked lips. A liar listens to destructive talk. I don't like anyone coming to me with destructive talk, particularly about somebody I know or somebody I care about or I love. I just stop you. You don't get to talk to me about him. Shut up. He who mocks the poor insults his maker. He who rejoices in calamity will not go unpunished. People love to see you fall, and they mock people that don't have much. We don't want to rejoice. Papa doesn't take pleasure in a soul that's lost. Don't rejoice. We rejoice in humans because we don't own the soul. There's no skin off our back. But that soul belongeth to the Lord. That's his loss, not yours. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged. Oh, we do love grandbabies, don't we? The older you get, the more you're going to find you love grand puppies. I have men that I've led to God, and then many times their younger brothers end up following and become like a grand disciple for me. Or I meet some people and I mentor them, then they go out and they multiply and start bringing other disciples, and they bring somebody, and that's a great. Now the man that I mentored is now out mentoring, bringing disciples, and I tell you, it's like I have a grandbaby now. Like, oh, who mentored you? Oh, well, that's Steve. Okay, oh, wait, you did a good job bringing that one to the praise Papa. And I just go crazy for my grandbaby disciples. Every grandparent loves that grandchild, but some of you grandparents are wicked. But I get a kick out of some of the guys producing fruit in the Lord and meeting someone that they led to the Lord, and being able to play the role. Grandbabies can do no. My grandmother was my hero, and she loved me like nobody's business, and I love grandma, the grandpa, those aged, grand, wise people. So grandchildren are the crown of the age, while the glory of children is their ancestors. And that's your glory. Don't forget where you come from. You might want to check your ancestry history. Fine speech is unbecoming to a boor, and even less lying lips to a leader. Nobody wants to have a leader that lies. That destroys everything. A bribe works like a charm in the view of the one who gives it. Wherever it turns, it succeeds. Oh, don't worry. I know what to do. All right. Just give him this, give him that. Bribe him with a woman. Bribe him with some money. He who conceals an offense promotes love. He who conceals an offense promotes love. But he who harps on it can separate even closer friends. People just don't, what do we say? Just let it go. People won't let it go. Just, you know what? Forget about it. Better to be at peace. I'm wrong when I'm right, so that peace may abide. Do you have to win every argument? Why don't you just let love cover that? It's particularly if someone has offended you. You don't want to be like rice paper, just waiting for somebody to say the first wrong thing to you. Why? Let it go. All right, they're finished. Let it go. You love them, right? Pick your battles. You want to fight them over everything they say, everything they do? Let it go. A rebuke makes more impression on a person of understanding. Yeah, you rebuked and tried to correct many people, and you've made no difference. They are a boor. They have no common sense. They have no understanding. Then 100 blows on a fool. And a rebuke makes more impression on a person of understanding than 100 blows. No matter how much you hit that guy and try to knock some sense in his head, 100 blows on that fool's head, it won't make a difference. An evil person seeks only rebellion, but a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Mm. Nobody gets away free. It's going to come back, and you ate that little fish. He's going to send a bigger one to come at you.
So think about it. That's exactly what happened with Babylon, right? Israel was the evil one seeking rebellion, and who the cruel messenger was Babylon. That's why in the prophets it said, I'm sending the most vile of nations against you. Well, you think you're bad? Oh no, I'm gonna send Hamas against you. Yeah, you're so rebellious, dancing in that desert on October 7th. Oh, don't worry, I'm sending a real vile people to teach you.
And it happens all the time, doesn't it? It happens all the time. And that's not just one event, as Guy would tell you as you read the scripture. You see that play out over and over again.
And as a matter of fact, the book of Habakkuk is debating with God. It's like, how can you use such a wicked nation to punish? And the Lord is like, oh, don't worry, I'm using them to punish you, but then I'm coming after them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just the stick that he's using. And the stick is still going to be judged itself. They just it's like the enemy of my friend is being used against my friend, but you're still my enemy. You're not my friend because I'm using you. Rather meet a bear robbed of its cubs than encounter a fool in his folly.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody survives a bear robbed of his cub, but that would be better than a fool.
We've all been there, haven't we? You meet someone full in his folly. Listen, you just run, turn away. Don't try to reason. Don't try to do your apologetics and avenge. No. Run.
Which is why we don't try to reason with an angry man. We don't try to reason with a drunk, inebriated man. Let it go. Just let it go. People make promises and threats when they're drunk. Move on. They're talking to you in a mind that's not sober, or they're talking to you in a mind that's full of rage. It was in the heat of the moment. A crime of what? Passion. There's no reasoning. No reasoning. Evil will not depart from the house of him who returns evil for good. Many people treat good people worse than they treat bad people. You're not very nice to the people that are nice to you, are you? Starting a fight is like letting water through a dike. Better stop that quarrel before it gets worse. It's like, why don't you just stop while you're ahead? Uh-oh, that did it. Now you're really going to get it. You should have stopped while you were ahead. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous, both are alike an abomination to Adonai. You justify the wicked and condemn the righteous. In America, we have this argument with our liberal court systems all the time and progressive wokeism, they call it, where they go around defending the criminal against the law abiding citizen.
Now, it doesn't mean that you mistakenly judge someone who didn't do it as if he did and someone who did as if he didn't. That happens a lot in the court because, well, that's just how it is, right? But more than that, in Israel, in particular, in the Jewish faith, there is this culture of calling everyone tzaddik. Tzaddik is the Hebrew for righteous. And you see all of these rabbis, etc., they stand on the streets and call to passers-by, tzaddik, tzaddik, come put the tefillin, tzaddik. It's like, why are you calling those people righteous? What do you know about them? You know nothing. You just saw them. They look as godless as can be. Piercing statues, devils painted on their necks. And you're calling them righteous? And you want... It's such an abomination. Not to me. To Adonai, the Lord. He despises it. Let the righteous be righteous. That is a holy word that now you've made common, and worse than that.
It's so important to know when somebody is insulting you, who it is that's insulting you. And when somebody's complimenting you, who it is that's complimenting you. I don't take compliments from fools, nor do I take insults. But a man that I know is righteous would know how to judge a righteous man. And a righteous man would know what a compliment to give me, and a righteous man would know what rebuke to give me. A rebuke for the sake of rebuke. People that hate you, they love to try to correct you because they're trying to tear you down. But the people that love you, that's a different kind of correction. The people that flatter you, they love to compliment you to get what they want. But a righteous man that's flattering you is not trying to get anything. He's not complimenting you just to flatter you. He's giving you an observation of something good he's noticing about you. The same way he would tell you something evil that he notices about you. You should want both. No, you got an honest person. Yes. Why would a fool wish to pay for wisdom when he has no desire to learn? A lot of people, they paid, but they have no desire to learn. Maybe it's just for the show. Oh, look what I can do. They really have no interest in reading. They bought the book, but they don't read it. They have a book. They're not studying it. Why did you buy it? Yeah. What did you buy the book for? I have said it many times. A friend shows his friendship at all times. Consistency. A dog's a dog. It doesn't wake up tomorrow and decides not to be a cat. A dog's a dog at all times. A leopard does not change his skin. Many of you who you get that seesaw behavior in your life. It's up and down, up and down. You're really not up and down. You're just down. Because when you're up, you are up. It's just your nature, who you are. Up and down is one thing. A man who cannot be trusted. You're inconsistent. You're up and down, up and down. It's not good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If you're cheating on your wife, sometimes you're not good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. You're a cheater, period. If you're faithful to your wife, you're faithful, period. You can't be, well, I'm faithful sometimes. Well, if you're faithful sometimes and sometimes not, you're never faithful. You lie sometimes, you tell the truth sometimes, you're just a liar. You're nice sometimes and mean sometimes, you're mean. You seek God sometimes, sometimes you don't seek God, you're not a seeker at all. There's no part-time. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength. Do you not get that? A friend is a friend. You don't have to guess, sometimes he's not, that's not a friend. A friend is a friend. You're not questioning and doubting. They're not in and out like a burger chain. Is it for adversity that such a brother is born? Ask Cain. Ask Abel, rather. He was the one who was killed by his brother. Ask Joseph. He was the one. Ask David. He was mocked. Ask Jesus. He was mocked. He who gives his hand to guarantee a loan for his neighbor lacks good sense.
Well, that is, you gotta understand the context here. It's bad to give a loan. Well, the neighbor here is referred to as someone on the outside. Think about it. The last verse said a friend, right? There's a friend and a brother, and here is a neighbor. What do you know about that neighbor? That you would guarantee a loan. It's like, why would you put up security for a stranger? Oh, I'll back you up. Why? What do you know about him? Do you know his affairs? Do you know his character? Do you know his financial situation? Don't jump so quick and, vouch for people that you don't truly know.
Exactly. And don't assume that your brother is not going to kill you. Because where was I wounded? In the house of my friend. There is a friend that sticketh closer to it than a brother. Mother and mother, sister, those that do the will of my Father. Remember, the slave had more wisdom than the son. So there are those who should be faithful. An old man should be wise, he becomes a fool. A son should be better, he's not, the slave is. A brother should be trustworthy, he's the one trying to kill you. The number one crime in society for murder are your family members. They're the first one that'll kill you. Second one would be your friends. Now, friends, family, what's that? Your wife, your husband, your brother, your sister, your family, friend, your lover, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. See, the people that are closest to you are the most dangerous. Long before you get to your neighbor and the coach and the associates on the outside. And then last at the bottom of the list is a stranger. That's the least of your worthy. Most of your crimes are not committed by strangers. Strangers do commit crimes, of course, but the preponderance of those crimes are committed by the closest person to you, and then the next one to that one, and then the next one to that one, long before it's a stranger. Interesting. The rejection in your own home. Those who love quarreling, love giving offense. Those who make their gates tall are courting disaster. Well, of course. Why do you think their gates are tall? Security cameras, big walls, gates, guard dogs. That's the one that that's the house you want to break into, not the one where the yard doesn't look like the hedges have been shaped like a geometric figure and the door is a little dilapidated. The grass is not cut evenly. Well, that doesn't look like it's got anything in there I want. And we all know people that love to fight. They love to argue. They are consistent with that. Every few days, every few weeks, all the time. It's just back and forth. You've seen mothers and fathers sit back in the house, yelling, screaming, arguing. You've been raised in homes like that. Unbelievable. A crooked-hearted person will find nothing good, and the perverse of speech will end in calamity. He who fathers a fool does so to his sorrow. And the father of a boor has no joy. Oh, that's him. Oh, he's not this one. Oh, he's been specially touched. That one. It's nothing. You don't brag. Oh, look at my boy. That's my boy. Oh, look at my. Oh, I'm proud of that. You don't know. No joy. My daughter. Oh, isn't she noble? Well, I saw her walking the street the other night. But if you say so, you get some. Your parents have no joy, and a child that's a fool, unwise, no joy. A happy heart is good medicine. Laugh, be happy in the spirit, not from the spirits you drink. The Lord gives the wine of the spirit. Some are drunk with wine, but not the wine of the spirit. And the father of a boy. But the low spirit sap one's strength. When some people are happy around you, it invigorates you if you're not jealous and envious. But when they're depressed, it's draining you. It drains your energy. Just takes your strength. We call it what? You're a killjoy. Man, you're taking my joy away. A happy heart is good medicine. And the doctors will tell you there is scientific medical data to prove that. From under a cloak, when you're nasty and mean, your body calcifies. Did you know that? Hard and nasty. You're not laughing, no joy. That massages your organs.
Well, they actually did that experiment with water, and they saw water is affected by energy. If you speak kind words in a good spirit, a good energy, the water responds well. It forms all kind of beautiful crystals, but when you use bad energy and you speak harsh to the water, it destroys it. And obviously we are 70% water, so think about what it does to your body.
Well, thoughts do the same thing. So when you internalize stress, evil thoughts, you start mumbling to yourself. You go home with thoughts and you start talking to yourself in your head. Evil. Demon possession will occur, or demon oppression. It's hard to tell the difference because the results in both are almost diametrically the same. Happy heart is a good medicine. Good thoughts. Whatsoever is good, Philippians 4. Praiseworthy, thanksworthy, glory, holy, think on these things. From under a cloak, a bad man takes a bribe to pervert the course of justice. There's always people undermining you. I worked in a company, they did it all the time. They lied about the commission splits. They lied about deals. They took deals. They hid deals to steal because money was their God. The discerning person focuses on wisdom there before him, but a fool's eyes wander to the ends of the earth. It focuses on the wisdom in front of him. You don't have to go to another state and go all over the world traveling because you're restless in yourself. You can't even see the wisdom in front of you.
Well, and that is why you see in Israel so many Israelis. They have the Torah here, they have the Lord here, they have the history here, but you think they want to stay here? No, they wander to the ends of the earth, some to the east, some to the west, some to the north, some to the south. The Israelis are known around the world to be travelers and wanderers trying to find themselves when the wisdom of God, of Adonai Elohim, is right here in the Holy Land, but they're not interested.
And not just in the Holy Land, but in the holy ancestry. Your ancestry, we just read. Grandpapas love the grandkids, and the glory of the children are their ancestors. A son who is a fool means anger for his father and bitterness for the mother who gave him birth. A lot of you have troubled your parents. You've cursed them out, threatened their lives, fight with them. To punish the innocent is not right. Likewise, to flog noble people for their uprightness. Never seen a good deed go unpunished. A knowledgeable person controls his tongue. A discerning person controls his temper. Even a fool, if he stays quiet, is thought to be wise. But he who keeps his mouth shut can pass for smart. They say, I I thought you were a fool, but I wasn't sure until you opened your mouth and removed all doubt. At some point, best to be silent. Best to be silent. Be wise, be silent, love God, seek wisdom, fear the Lord. Amen.